Like, subscribe, and turn on notification for more amazing video. Respect!
Human is saved from slavery by a stunning alien widow, an undoubted love for earthly things. Jack Hardy awoke to the acrid stench of disinfectant and despair. His head throbbed where the neural stunner had struck during the raid on New Montana colony. The cold metal floor beneath him vibrated with the hum of massive engines. As his vision cleared, he found himself surrounded by hundreds of miserable humanoid aliens packed into a vast holding bay. Their diverse forms, some with extra limbs, unusual skin colors, or non-human features, all shared the same hollow-eyed look of the condemned. "Welcome to hell, Earther," rasped a voice beside him. A thin alien with mottled green skin and 4 eyes blinked at him wearily. "I'm Dorn. You're the first human I've seen in this sector." Jack flexed his wrists against the energy cuffs binding them. Despite 3 days of captivity, his muscular frame remained powerful, his jaws set with determination. "Where are we?" "Caraxis Trading Station. The Vril bring their catches here before auction." Dorn's voice dropped. "The lucky ones go to labor camps. The rest." He didn't finish. Guards patrolled the perimeter, hulking reptilian creatures with armored exoskeletons and shock prods. The Vril were notorious slavers, their empire built on the suffering of a dozen conquered species. "Stand for inspection, vermin!" A Vril commander entered, flanked by guards. The slaves scrambled to their feet, all except Jack, who remained defiantly seated. A guard approached, prod raised. "Up, human filth!" "Go to hell," Jack replied, staring directly into the guard's compound eyes. The shock prod connected with his shoulder, electricity arcing through his body. Jack gritted his teeth, refusing to cry out. When the pain subsided, he slowly, deliberately rose to his full height, taller than most of the aliens and nearly eye level with the Vril guard. "Defiant little pet," the guard hissed. "The minds of Dracos 4 will break you." The inspection continued, guards roughly shoving slaves into groups. A new batch of captives was herded in, frightened, disoriented beings fresh from their homeworlds. Among them was a small female with delicate features and skin the color of twilight. She stumbled, falling to her knees before a guard. "Move, trash!" The guard raised his prod. Something snapped in Jack. Perhaps it was seeing the terror in her eyes. Or perhaps 3 days of rage finally boiled over. With a roar, he lunged forward, his bound hands swinging upward to catch the guard under his armored shin. The Vril staggered backward, more surprised than hurt. "Leave her alone!" Jack shouted, placing himself between the fallen alien and her tormentor. The room froze, then chaos erupted. Guards converged, shock prods extended. The commander drew a plasma pistol. "This one dies now," he announced coldly. "An example for the rest?" Jack stood his ground, muscles tensed. If he was going to die, he'd take as many of these bastards with him as possible. The commander raised his weapon, when suddenly the massive doors at the far end of the holding bay hissed open. The change in the room was immediate. Guards snapped to attention. The commander holstered his weapon and bowed deeply. Through the doors glided a figure that stopped Jack cold. A humanoid female with flawlessly smooth skin of the palest blue, adorned with barely visible patterns like frost on glass. Her straight hair cascaded to her waist, glowing with an ethereal silver-white light that seemed to pulse with its own inner luminescence. Large almond-shaped eyes rimmed with bold dark makeup regarded the room with icy confidence. She wore an elegant, form-fitting black outfit with a plunging neckline. A gleaming brooch of some precious metal pinned at her throat. In her slender arms, she cradled a small creature that Jack recognized with shock as a Pomeranian dog from Earth, its fluffy coat groomed to perfection. "Lady Nervia," the commander stammered. "We did not expect your presence today." Her voice when she spoke was melodic, yet cold as space itself. "I go where I please, Commander Vox." Her gaze swept the room, then fixed on Jack. "What disturbance interrupts my shopping?" "Merely disciplining an unruly slave, my lady." This human attacked a guard. She approached the crowd of slaves parting before her. The small dog in her arms yapped excitedly at Jack. "Silence, Pixel," she commanded softly, then studied Jack with undisguised interest. "A human, so far from Earth." Her eyes narrowed. "Why did you attack the guard?" Jack met her gaze without flinching. He was about to hurt someone who couldn't defend herself. A flicker of something, surprise, respect, crossed her perfect features. Fascinating. Your species has a reputation for unpredictability. She turned to the commander. I'll take this one. My lady, this specimen is unsuitable, rebellious, dangerous. Did I ask your opinion, Commander? Her tone could have frozen hydrogen. The commander bowed again. Of course not, Lady Neria. As you wish. Have him prepared and delivered to my transport immediately. She turned, then paused. And the female he defended, I'll take her as well. As she glided away, the small dog peered over her shoulder at Jack, its tongue lolling in what almost looked like a smile. Within the hour, Jack found himself in a luxurious private shuttle, his cuffs removed, facing the mysterious Lady Neria across a cabin adorned with what he recognized as authentic Earth artifacts, a Persian rug, Renaissance paintings, even a vintage record player. Welcome to your new life, human, she said, stroking the small dog in her lap. I am Lady Neria Thalassian, and you now belong to me. Jack leaned forward, his eyes never leaving hers. My name is Jack Hardy, and I belong to no one. A smile curved her perfect lips. We shall see. The journey to Lady Neria's estate took less than an hour. Jack spent it silently observing his captor, or savior, depending on one's perspective. She sat with perfect posture, occasionally stroking the Pomeranian that had settled contentedly in her lap. The small dog watched Jack with curious eyes, occasionally yapping as if trying to communicate. Pixel seems to like you, Neria remarked, her melodic voice breaking the silence. He rarely approves of my acquisitions. Is that what I am? An acquisition? Jack asked, his tone deliberately neutral despite the anger simmering beneath. A hint of amusement flickered across her face. For now, she tilted her head, studying him with those mesmerizing eyes. You're different from the others. Most break immediately. You burn? The shuttle descended through wispy clouds toward a sprawling estate, nestled in a valley of purple-hued vegetation. The villa itself was an architectural marvel, sweeping curves of pale stone and gleaming metal, surrounded by meticulously landscaped gardens. As they landed, Jack caught sight of figures moving about the grounds, humanoid forms engaged in various tasks. Some appeared to be gardening, others carrying packages or tending to the exterior of the building. Welcome to my sanctuary, Neria said, as the shuttle doors opened. Two uniformed servants, both aliens with ridged foreheads and amber skin, approached and bowed deeply. Lady Neria, one said, your chambers are prepared as requested. Excellent. This is Jack Hardy. He will be given the blue suite in the East Wing. She handed Pixel to the second servant. Take him for his evening walk. Jack was escorted through the villa's grand entrance hall, where he stopped in astonishment. The space was a museum of Earth artifacts, antique furniture, paintings, sculptures, and display cases filled with items ranging from vintage watches to baseball cards. A genuine Steinway grand piano occupied one corner, while a collection of vinyl records sat beside a high-end turntable. Impressed, came a voice from behind him. A human woman in her 30s with dark hair and olive skin approached, wearing comfortable but elegant clothing. I'm Elena. Welcome to the menagerie. You're human, Jack stated the obvious, relief flooding through him at the sight of another Earthling. Last time I checked, she replied with a wry smile. There are 4 of us here, well, 5 now with you. Lady Neria has a fascination with our species. She collects us? Elena shrugged. In a manner of speaking, though it's not as bad as it sounds. Follow me, I'll show you to your room. As they walked through corridors adorned with more Earth treasures, Elena explained in hushed tones, Neria's been collecting Earth artifacts for decades. Humans are her newest interest. She treats us well, better than most beings in this sector treat their own kind. We have comfortable quarters, good food, freedom to move about the estate. But we're still prisoners, Jack pointed out. Technically, yes, but the alternative's out there. She gestured toward the sky. Trust me, I was on a Vril mining ship before Neria bought me. Yeah, this is paradise by comparison. The blue suite turned out to be a luxurious apartment larger than Jack's entire home in New Montana. The decor was distinctly Earth-inspired, mid-century modern furniture, abstract, expressionist paintings, and a bookshelf filled with actual paper books. The bathroom's through there, Elena pointed. Dinner is at local Sunset. Neria likes us all to attend. Oh, and Jack? A word of advice. Don't try to escape. The perimeter's security is lethal. Javier found out the hard way. Javier? There were 5 of us. Now 4. She left him with that sobering thought. After a refreshing shower, with actual water, not sonic cleaning, Jack found a wardrobe filled with Earth clothing in exactly his size. He chose simple black pants and a fitted gray shirt, then explored his new prison. The suite opened onto a private garden terrace with a view of mountains in the distance. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon and sea salt. For a gilded cage, it was undeniably beautiful. At sunset, another servant arrived to escort him to dinner. The dining room continued the theme of Earth opulence. A massive mahogany table, crystal chandeliers, and walls adorned with Renaissance paintings. 3 humans already sat at the table. Elena, whom he'd met earlier, an older man with silver hair and a military bearing, and a young man barely out of his teens. The new arrival, the older man said, standing to offer his hand, Colonel Thomas Blackwood, formerly of the Earth Defense Force, Jack Hardy, New Montana Colony. The younger man nodded without standing. Kip Simon, ex-pilot, current captive. Before further introductions could be made, the doors opened and Neria entered. She had changed into a flowing gown of midnight blue that complemented her pale skin. Her hair was arranged in an intricate style that somehow enhanced its luminous quality. The effect was stunning. I see you've met my other human guests, she said, taking her place at the head of the table. I trust you're finding your accommodation satisfactory? The cage is beautiful, Jack replied, earning a sharp look from Colonel Blackwood. Rather than taking offense, Neria laughed, a sound like crystal wind chimes. Refreshingly direct. Most beings in this sector would be too terrified to speak so boldly to a Thalassian. I'm not most beings. Indeed you're not. Her gaze lingered on him with unmistakable interest. Throughout the meal, a fusion of Earth cuisine and alien delicacies, Jack observed the dynamics at the table. The colonel treated Neria with cautious respect. Elena was friendly but guarded. Kip barely concealed his resentment. Tell me, Jack, Neria said as servants cleared the main course. What did you do on your colony? I was a terraforming engineer. We were preparing New Montana for larger settlement. Fascinating. Humans reshape worlds to suit themselves, while most species adapt to their environments. Is that why you collect us? Scientific curiosity? Her eyes sparkled. Partly, your species is unpredictable, adaptable, passionate. The way she said the last word sent an unexpected shiver down Jack's spine. After dinner, Neria invited Jack to join her in her private study, an honor according to the colonel's raised eyebrows. The room was smaller, more intimate, with Earth artifacts that seemed more personal than the museum pieces in the main hall. You intrigue me, Jack Hardy, she said, pouring 2 glasses of what appeared to be whiskey. Most beings fear me. You challenge me. Should I fear you? Perhaps. She handed him a glass, her fingers brushing his. The contact sent a jolt of electricity through him that had nothing to do with fear. But I think we both know that's not what you feel when you look at me. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the power dynamic between them shifted into something more primal, more equal. Jack felt a pull toward her that defied logic. She was his captor, an alien, yet undeniably alluring. What happened to Javier? He asked, breaking the moment. Her expression cooled slightly. He attempted to steal a shuttle. The perimeter defenses responded as programmed. She moved closer. I don't wish the same fate for you, Jack. You could find contentment here, as the others have. As part of your collection, perhaps as something more. Her voice had dropped to a near whisper. She was close enough now that he could smell her exotic perfume, like vanilla and starlight. I'm not a pet, he said, though his resolve was weakening under her gaze. No, she agreed, her hand rising to touch his face. You're definitely not that. Days at Neria's estate fell into a rhythm. Each morning, Jack explored the grounds, mapping escape routes despite Elena's warnings. Colonel Blackwood joined him occasionally, pointing out security measures with the practiced eye of a military man. The perimeter has motion sensors tied to plasma turrets, the colonel explained during one such walk. Javier never stood a chance. You've been here longest, Jack said. Why haven't you tried? Blackwood's weathered face tightened. Who says I haven't? 3 attempts, 3 failures. After the last one, Neria showed me something that changed my perspective. Before Jack could press further, an alarm chimed throughout the estate. The colonel's expression darkened. Visitor protocol. Back to the main house now. They returned to find the other humans gathered in the grand hall. Elena looked worried, while Kip paced nervously. What's happening? Jack asked. Lord Drax, Elena whispered. A collector like Neria, but different. He views humans as specimens, not artifacts. Moments later, Neria entered, her usual confident demeanor subtly altered. She wore formal attire, a shimmering gown that accentuated her otherworldly beauty, her hair elaborately styled with glittering ornaments. My humans, she addressed them with unusual formality. Lord Drax of House Vicarian has requested an audience. You will be present but silent unless directly addressed. Her eyes lingered on Jack. Especially you. The visitor arrived in a flurry of ceremony. Lord Drax was tall and gaunt, his skin an ashen gray, eyes like polished obsidian set in a face of sharp angles. 4 armed guards accompanied him, their uniforms bearing insignia Jack didn't recognize. Lady Neria, Drax's voice was like gravel over silk. Always a pleasure to see the last daughter of House Thalasian. Lord Drax, she replied coolly. To what do I owe this unexpected visit? His black eyes surveyed the room, lingering on the humans. I heard rumors of your latest acquisition, a male human who showed unusual spirit. Jack felt those alien eyes assess him like a butcher eyeing a prime cut. I see the rumors were accurate, Drax continued. Magnificent specimen, strong physique, defiant posture. I would be willing to offer substantial compensation for him. Neria's face remained impassive. He is not for sale. Everything has a price, Lady Neria. Drax stepped closer to Jack. Humans fascinate me. Their biology, their psychology. My research facility has made remarkable discoveries through dissection and experimentation. Jack felt his muscles tense, but a warning glance from Neria kept him silent. 3 million credits, Drax offered, more than generous for a single specimen. As I said, he is not available. Neria's tone hardened. Now, shall we discuss the actual purpose of your visit? The Galactic Council meeting approaches, and I doubt you came merely to admire my collection. Drax's thin lips curved in what might have been a smile. Direct as always. Very well, the Council will vote on the Terran exclusion zone. Your opposition has been noted. Earth and its colonies deserve protection, not isolation, Neria countered. Humans are dangerous, Drax hissed. Unpredictable. Their expansion threatens established order. Their innovation benefits us all, Neria argued. My late husband believed. Your husband was a fool, Drax cut in. His fascination with humans led to his demise. A lesson you seem determined not to learn. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Neria's composure slipped for just a moment, revealing raw pain beneath. My offer for the human stands, Drax said, changing tactics. Consider it carefully. Your position on the council is precarious. Allies are valuable. After Drax departed, tension lingered in the air. Neria dismissed the other humans but asked Jack to join her in her private garden, a secluded space filled with earth plants, roses, oak trees, even a small patch of Kentucky bluegrass. You have questions, she stated, not looking at him. A few thousand, Jack replied, starting with what the hell just happened. She sighed, a surprisingly human gesture. Politics. Drax leads a faction opposed to human expansion. The Galactic Council votes soon on whether to quarantine Earth and its colonies. And your husband? Drax said. Kareth was a xenoanthropologist, she interrupted, pain evident in her voice. He believed humans represented the future of galactic society. Their adaptability, their creativity. He admired them, studied them, collected their artifacts. She touched a rose gently. 10 years ago, he traveled to a human colony world, hoping to establish official first contact. His shuttle was destroyed. The official report blamed human defense systems, but I've always suspected Drax's involvement. So the collection was Kareth's originally? I continued it to honor him, but over time. She turned to face Jack, vulnerability showing through her usual mask. I came to share his fascination. The setting sun cast her in golden light, making her glow like some ethereal being. Jack felt the now familiar pull toward her, a connection that defied logic. Drax will return, she said softly. His offer was a threat. If I continue opposing the exclusion zone, he'll find ways to undermine me. Taking you would be both political and personal victory for him. I'm not going anywhere, Jack said firmly, surprising himself with his sincerity. Her eyes searched his. Why? You've been planning escape since you arrived. He stepped closer. Maybe I've found something worth staying for. The air between them charged with electricity. Her hand rose to his face, cool fingers tracing his jawline. Humans are so warm, she murmured, so alive. When their lips met, it was like touching a live wire. Her mouth was cool at first, but warmed against his. Her luminous hair fell around them, like a curtain of starlight as the kiss deepened. Later in her private chambers, a space no human had entered before, they discovered each other's differences and similarities. Her skin glowed faintly in darkness, patterns becoming more visible with her quickening pulse. She marveled at his warmth, the strength in his muscles, while he traced the ethereal contours of her body. Their joining transcended physical pleasure, becoming something profound. A bridge between two vastly different beings, finding connection in the most primal way. Afterward, as they lay entwined, Neria whispered, "The Thalasian do not give their hearts easily. We mate for life." Is that a proposal? Jack asked, only half joking. It's a warning, she replied softly. What I feel for you, it complicates everything. Before he could respond, an explosion rocked the estate, the shock wave shattering windows throughout the villa. Neria was on her feet instantly. We're under attack. Alarms blared throughout the estate as Jack and Neria hastily dressed. Her security system projected holographic displays showing multiple breaches along the eastern perimeter. Drax wouldn't dare attack directly, Neria said, her voice tight with tension as she secured her brooch, which Jack now realized was more than mere jewelry. With a twist, it transformed into a sleek energy weapon. This is too crude for his style. Unless he's desperate, Jack suggested, grabbing a decorative but sturdy metal rod from a nearby display. Or he has inside help. Neria's eyes widened. The security codes, someone must have... The door to her chambers burst open. Colonel Blackwood stood there, a human-designed projectile weapon in his hands. My lady, we need to move. They've breached the main hall. They hurried through hidden passages within the villa's walls, escape routes Neria had never mentioned. The sounds of combat echoed through the structure, energy weapons discharging, the crash of breaking artifacts, shouts in multiple languages. The other humans? Jack asked as they descended a narrow staircase. Elena and Kip are in the safe room, Blackwood replied. Along with your most valuable Earth pieces, he added to Neria. They emerged into what appeared to be a command center beneath the estate. Holographic displays showed the villa from multiple angles. Armed security personnel, members of Neria's species, coordinated the defense. Status report, Neria demanded, instantly transforming from vulnerable lover to commanding presence. 20 intruders, my lady, a male officer responded. Mixed species but wearing Vicarian insignia. They're after something specific, heading straight for the human quarters. They're after us, Jack realized. Drax wants his specimens. Neria's face hardened. Activate Protocol Sundown. No one takes what's mine. On the displays, defensive systems engaged throughout the estate. Hidden panels opened in walls and ceilings, deploying automated security drones. The intruders found themselves under attack from all sides. Where's Lisa? Jack suddenly asked, remembering the female alien he'd defended at the slave market. Blackwood and Neria exchanged glances. The Illyrian female? Neria asked. She works in the gardens. Why? Before Jack could explain his suspicion, one of the security officers called out, Breach in Sector 7. They've disabled the internal defenses. The display showed a slender figure moving through the corridors, systematically deactivating security nodes. Lisa, her delicate features set in determination. "She's helping them," Jack said grimly. "I knew something felt off about her rescue being too convenient." Neria's luminous hair pulsed with anger. "Bring her to me, alive." "I'll go," Jack volunteered. "She knows me. Maybe I can talk her down." Neria caught his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "This isn't your fight." "It became my fight when they interrupted us," he replied with a half-smile that made her eyes flash with remembered passion. "Besides, I owe her for using me." Blackwood handed Jack a proper weapon, a compact energy pistol. "Standard EDF issue, figured you'd know how to use it." "I was a terraforming engineer, not a soldier," Jack said, examining the weapon. "All colonists receive basic training," the colonel replied knowingly. "New Montana was a frontier world." With Blackwood providing directions through a communication device, Jack navigated the service quarters of the estate. The sounds of fighting had diminished. Neria's security forces were regaining control. He found Lisa in Neria's private study, frantically searching through the desk. Her head snapped up when he entered, eyes widening in recognition. "Jack," she said, her melodic voice tinged with surprise. "You shouldn't be here." "Funny, I was thinking the same about you." He kept the weapon lowered but ready. "Working for Drax?" Her delicate features hardened. "You understand nothing." "Then explain it to me." "Why betray Neria? She saved you." "Saved me?" Lisa laughed bitterly. "She bought me as a prop to impress you, the noble lady rescuing the helpless slave. It was theater, nothing more." "Even if that's true, it doesn't justify this." Jack gestured to the chaos around them. Lisa's eyes narrowed. "My people, the Illyrians, were once allies of the Thalasians. When the Vrul invaded our homeworld, we begged for help. Lady Neria's father promised protection, then abandoned us to save a trade agreement. Millions died, including my family." "So this is revenge." "Justice," she corrected. "Drax promised to restore Illyrian sovereignty if I helped him acquire Neria's humans. A small price. And you believe him? The man who dissects sentient beings for research?" Doubt flickered across her face. "I have no choice." "There's always a choice," Jack said, stepping closer. "Neria isn't her father. Help us stop this attack, and I'll personally ensure your grievances are heard." For a moment, he thought he'd reached her. Then her hand moved, revealing a small device. "I'm sorry, Jack. Truly." She pressed a button. Pain exploded behind his eyes as a high-frequency sonic pulse hit him. He staggered, the weapon slipping from his grasp. Through blurred vision, he saw Lisa retrieve something from the desk, a data crystal, before heading for the door. Fighting through the disorientation, Jack lunged, tackling her to the floor. The crystal skittered away as they grappled. Despite her slender build, Lisa was surprisingly strong, her alien physiology giving her advantages he hadn't anticipated. "Stop fighting," he grunted as they rolled across the floor. "Drax is using you." "Better his tool than her possession," Lisa spat back, landing a painful blow to his ribs. The door burst open. Neria stood there, her weapon raised, hair blazing with light that cast harsh shadows across her face. "Enough," she commanded. Lisa froze, then slowly raised her hands. "Lady Neria, how disappointing to see you survived." "The attack has failed," Neria said coldly. "Your conspirators are captured or dead." "There will be others," Lisa replied defiantly. "Your obsession with humans has made you vulnerable. Everyone knows it." Neria's eyes flicked to Jack, who had retrieved the data crystal. "What did she take?" He examined it. "Looks like research data. Probably your husband's work on humans." "Drax has been trying to access Kareth's research for years," Neria said, understanding dawning. "The attack, the offer for you, all distractions." "Not entirely," Lisa interjected with a cruel smile. "Lord Drax is genuinely interested in your human pet, particularly after learning how intimately you've been studying human physiology." Neria's composure slipped, her weapon hand trembling slightly. Jack moved to her side, his fingers brushing hers in silent support. "Take her to containment," Neria ordered as security personnel arrived. "We'll discuss appropriate consequences later." As Lisa was led away, Neria turned to Jack, vulnerability replacing her commanding presence. "Are you injured?" "Nothing serious," he assured her, though his head still throbbed from the sonic pulse. "But we need to talk about what she said. About me being a prop in your game." Neria's luminous eyes held his. "Later. First, we must secure the estate. Drax won't stop with one failed attempt." As they walked back to the command center, Jack felt the weight of the data crystal in his pocket. Whatever it contained had been worth risking lives for, and somewhere in its contents might lie the truth about Neria's intentions, not just for him, but for all humans. The estate's security team worked through the night repairing damaged systems and strengthening defenses. By morning, an uneasy calm had settled over the villa. Jack found Neria in her private laboratory, a space he hadn't known existed until now, beneath the east wing. The lab was a stark contrast to the ornate luxury of the villa above. Sleek, minimalist equipment hummed softly. Holographic displays showed complex molecular structures rotating slowly in the air. At the center stood a sealed chamber containing what appeared to be biological samples. "You've been busy," Jack said, announcing his presence. Neria looked up from a console, her luminous hair tied back pragmatically. She'd exchanged her elegant attire for a fitted research uniform that somehow managed to enhance rather than diminish her beauty. "Examining the data crystal," she confirmed. "It's encrypted, but I've managed to access portions of Kareth's research." Jack approached, placing a cup of coffee beside her, a human gesture she'd come to appreciate. "And?" She hesitated, something unusual for her. "It's complicated. Kareth was studying human genetic adaptability. He believed it was unique in the galaxy. That's what Drax is after? Information about human genetics? Not just information." Neria gestured to the sealed chamber. "Samples. Viable human DNA that Kareth collected during his expeditions." Jack frowned. Why would Drax risk an attack for that? He could get human DNA from any of his specimens. Because of what Kareth discovered. Neria activated a holographic display showing two DNA strands side by side. One human, one alien. This Thalasian DNA compared to human. Notice the similarities in key regions? Jack studied the display. His engineering background included basic xenobiology, necessary for understanding how different species might react to terraforming processes. "They're compatible?" "More than compatible," Neria said, her voice taking on an intensity he'd only heard in their most intimate moments. "Kareth believed human DNA could be the salvation of my species." She explained that the Thalasians, despite their apparent perfection, were dying. Centuries of genetic manipulation to enhance their beauty, intelligence, and longevity had introduced fatal flaws. Birth rates had plummeted. Each generation was weaker than the last. Kareth theorized that human adaptability, your species' remarkable ability to survive in diverse conditions, could stabilize our genome. Her eyes met his. He was working on a hybridization process when he died. "And you've continued his work," Jack realized, the pieces falling into place. "That's why you collect humans. Study us." "Initially, yes," she admitted, "but it became more than research. I grew to admire your species, your art, your music, your indomitable spirit. And then you arrived. The air between them charged with unspoken emotion. Jack thought of their night together. How perfectly they'd fit despite their differences. Drax opposes this research, Neria continued. His faction believes in genetic purity. The idea of Thalasian human hybridization threatens everything they stand for. So he wants to destroy the research and eliminate the evidence, Jack concluded. But there's more, isn't there? Something about Lisa's involvement doesn't add up. Neria nodded grimly. We should interrogate her. In the estate's secure holding area, they found Lisa confined behind an energy barrier. She sat cross-legged on the floor, her delicate features set in defiance. Come to gloat? She asked when she saw them. Come for answers, Jack replied. The truth this time. Neria stepped forward. Why would Drax recruit an Illyrian for this mission? Your people have no love for the Vicarians either. Lisa's expression flickered. Politics makes strange bedfellows. No, Jack said. studying her closely. "There's something else. When we fought, your strength was unusual for your size, almost like..." Neria's eyes widened with sudden understanding. "Show us your arm," she demanded. After a moment of resistance, Lisa rolled up her sleeve, revealing a network of faint surgical scars running from wrist to shoulder. "What did he do to you?" Neria whispered. "Improved me," Lisa replied with a bitter smile. "Lord Drax has been experimenting with genetic modification for years, combining traits from different species to create something better. Using human DNA," Jack guessed. Lisa nodded. "Humans are the key component. Your adaptability makes the modification stable. I'm one of his successes. Enhanced strength, improved healing, extended lifespan." "And the cost?" Neria asked softly. "Loyalty." Service, Lisa's voice hardened. "And regular treatments to prevent rejection. Without them, the modifications break down, painfully." "He's creating soldiers," Jack realized. "An army loyal to him because their survival depends on his treatments." "Not just soldiers," Lisa corrected. "The next stage of galactic evolution, according to him, with humans as the building blocks and other species contributing their best traits." "And the Galactic Council vote?" Neria pressed. "The Terran exclusion zone?" "A cover. If humans are isolated, no one will notice when they start disappearing. Drax has facilities throughout the sector. Hundreds of human specimens already in stasis, ready for processing." Jack felt cold rage building inside him. "How many?" "I don't know exact numbers. But the next shipment arrives soon. A colony transport lost in the Cygnus Expanse 3 months ago. Over 200 humans." Neria turned to Jack, her face grave. "We need to take this to the council immediately. With Kareth's research and Lisa's testimony." An alarm cut her off. One of Neria's security officers appeared on a communication screen. "My lady, long-range sensors detect multiple vessels approaching. Vicarian signatures." "How long?" she demanded. 2 hours at most. They're jamming communications. We can't call for reinforcements." Neria's decision was immediate. "Evacuation protocol, priority cargo only." She turned to Jack. "We need to reach the Galactic Council before Drax silences us permanently." As they hurried to prepare, Jack made a detour to the human quarters, finding Elena, Kip, and Colonel Blackwood already packing essential items. "We're leaving?" Elena asked, her face showing both hope and uncertainty. "Evacuating," Jack confirmed. "Drax is coming back with a larger force. We have evidence of his crimes against humans, but we need to reach the council." "About damn time," Kip muttered, though his eyes betrayed his nervousness. Within the hour, they had loaded Neria's fastest ship, a sleek interstellar yacht designed for both luxury and speed. The research data, biological samples, and most precious Earth artifacts were secured aboard. Lisa, still in restraints but now a crucial witness, was escorted to a secure compartment. As final preparations were made, Jack found Neria in her private cabin, securing the data crystal in a specialized container. "All those humans," she said without looking up, "taken for his experiments. While I collected artifacts and a handful of specimens, he was building an army using your people as raw material." Jack approached, turning her to face him. "You didn't know." "I should have suspected." The signs were there. Her luminous hair had dimmed with her distress. "My fascination with your species was aesthetic, academic, and then personal. His is monstrous." Jack drew her close, feeling her cool skin warm against his. "We'll stop him." She looked up at him, vulnerability and determination mingling in her gaze. "If we succeed, everything changes. For humans, for Thalasians, for us." "Good," he said simply, before kissing her with an intensity that left them both breathless. Later, as the ship lifted off from the estate, leaving behind automated defenses to slow Drax's forces, Jack stood with Neria on the bridge, watching her home shrink beneath them. Her hand found his, fingers intertwining. "I never thought I'd leave it all behind," she said softly. "Kareth's collection, our home." "Some things are worth more," Jack replied, squeezing her hand. As the ship accelerated towards space, alarms suddenly blared. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, tense but controlled. "My lady, we have incoming vessels." They've cut off our direct route to the Council homeworld. On the view screen, multiple ships appeared, moving to surround them. Drax? Neria said grimly. He must have had forces already in orbit. Can we outrun them? Jack asked. Not on a direct course? Her eyes narrowed in thought. But there might be another way. We're trapped, Kip announced, his pilot's eyes scanning the tactical display. 6 Vicarian cruisers, positioned to block all standard routes to Council space. The bridge of Neria's yacht, more luxury vessel than warship, had transformed into a war room. Jack, Neria, Colonel Blackwood, Elena, and Kip gathered around the holographic display, showing their precarious position. Lisa had been brought from her holding cell under guard, her knowledge now potentially vital to their survival. Their weapons are charging, Elena reported from a sensor console, targeting solutions in progress. They won't destroy us, Neria said confidently. Drax wants the research data and the humans alive. Small comfort, Jack muttered. Being captured alive by that monster isn't exactly winning. Colonel Blackwood cleared his throat. There's another option. All eyes turned to him. I have a direct emergency channel to Earth Defense Force ships patrolling the outer colonies. You what? Kip exclaimed. I was sent to investigate rumors of alien collection of humans, Blackwood admitted. Earth intelligence has known about isolated alien contact for decades, but kept it classified to prevent panic. You're a spy, Neria said, her voice cold. I prefer intelligence officer, Blackwood replied evenly, and right now I'm your best chance. There's an EDF battle group within 2 hours at maximum burn. 2 hours we don't have, Jack pointed out as the enemy ships closed in. Lisa, who had remained silent, suddenly spoke. I can give you those hours. When everyone stared at her, she continued, Drax's ships have a weakness in their shield harmonics. I know the frequencies. Why would you help us? Neria demanded. Because I've seen what happens in his labs, Lisa replied, her delicate features hardening. And because without your research data, I'll die when my modifications break down. Jack studied her. You're telling the truth. An Illyrian trait we share with humans. We're terrible liars, Lisa said with a hint of a smile. Neria made her decision. Colonel, send your signal. Lisa, work with my tactical officer. The rest of us will prepare for combat. As the others dispersed to their tasks, Jack followed Neria to her private command station. You trust them? He asked quietly. Trust is a luxury we can't afford, she replied, her fingers dancing across controls. But Blackwood has always been honest about his love for Earth, and Lisa has nothing to gain by betraying us now. A proximity alarm sounded. On the main view screen, a Vicarian cruiser loomed closer, its weapons ports glowing ominously. Incoming transmission, Elena announced. Lord Drax's gaunt face appeared on the screen, his obsidian eyes gleaming with triumph. Lady Neria, how disappointing to find you fleeing like a common criminal. Lord Drax, Neria replied with icy composure. How disappointing to find you resorting to piracy like a common thug. His thin lips twitched. Always defiant. It's why your house has fallen so far. His gaze shifted to Jack. I see you've brought my specimens. Excellent. This saves me the trouble of hunting them individually. They're not specimens, Jack said, stepping forward, and they're not yours. Ah, the human speaks, Drax said with mock surprise. Such spirit. I look forward to studying that quality in my laboratory. You're finished, Drax, Neria declared. We have evidence of your illegal experimentation, your abduction of humans. The Council, Drax interrupted, will never hear your accusations. Now power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Resist and I'll be forced to damage your lovely vessel. The transmission cut off. Neria's luminous hair pulsed with anger. He's stalling, Jack realized, keeping us talking while his ships move into position. From the tactical station, Lisa called out, I've identified the shield frequencies. Transmitting to weapons control now. Colonel, Neria asked. Signal sent, Blackwood confirmed. Authentication codes accepted. EDF acknowledges and is responding, but they need time to reach us. Time to fight then, Jack said grimly. What followed was a desperate battle against overwhelming odds. Neria's yacht, though primarily designed for luxury, carried advanced defensive systems. With Lisa's information, they targeted specific frequencies in the Vicarian's shields, causing localized failures that allowed their weapons to penetrate. The bridge rocked with impacts as they took return fire. Smoke filled the air from overloaded circuits. Through it all, Neria remained calm, directing their defense with the precision of a born commander. 2 enemy vessels disabled, Kip reported with fierce satisfaction. But our shields are failing. One more direct hit and a massive impact threw them all to the deck. Emergency lighting flickered on as main power failed. Hull breach in Section 4, Elena shouted. Automated seals holding. Engines offline, Kip added grimly. We're dead in space. On the view screen, a Vicarian boarding shuttle approached their stricken vessel. Prepare for boarders, Nyria ordered, transforming her brooch into its weapon form. Colonel, how long until your reinforcements arrive? At least 40 minutes, Blackwood replied, checking his own weapon. We need to hold them off, Jack said, helping Elena from the floor. Funnel them through the main corridor where we can set up a defensive position. As they hurried to prepare, Jack pulled Neria aside in a quiet moment. If this goes badly, she silenced him with a fierce kiss. It won't. Humans are remarkably stubborn about survival. It's one of the qualities I've come to admire most. The intensity in her eyes stirred something primal in him. Despite the danger, or perhaps because of it, desire flared between them. When this is over, he promised, his voice husky, we're going to find somewhere quiet and continue what we started. Her skin flushed a deeper blue, patterns becoming more visible with her quickened pulse. I will hold you to that promise, Jack Hardy. The moment was broken by the sound of cutting torches at the main airlock. Drax's forces were breaking in. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Drax's soldiers, a mix of Vrul mercenaries and enhanced beings like Lisa, poured into the ship. The humans and Neria fought with desperate courage, falling back from position to position as they were overwhelmed by numbers. Surprisingly, Lisa fought alongside them, her enhanced strength proving invaluable. Consider this my atonement, she told Jack as they held a barricade together. They were forced back to the engine room, their final defensive position. Wounded and exhausted, they prepared for their last stand. Drax himself appeared at the head of his troops, his thin face twisted in a triumphant smile. How touching, he mocked, seeing them gathered together, the noble lady and her pet humans, making their last stand. You've lost, Drax, Neria replied defiantly. Even if you kill us, the Earth Defense Force knows about your experiments now. They're coming. Drax laughed. Humans. What threat are they to me? Primitive, isolated, barely able to reach their own neighboring planets? You'd be surprised what we're capable of, Jack said, standing tall despite his injuries. I look forward to finding out in my laboratory, Drax replied coldly. Now surrender the research data, or I'll have my soldiers start removing limbs from your companions. Before Nyria could respond, a new alarm sounded. Kip, monitoring a portable scanner, looked up with wide eyes. Multiple ships just dropped out of FTL. They're not Vicarian. On his scanner, dozens of new contacts appeared. Sleek, aggressive vessels of unfamiliar design. Impossible, Drax hissed. The humans couldn't have... The ship's communication system suddenly activated. A confident human voice filled the engine room. Attention, alien vessel. This is Admiral Simon of the Earth Defense Force. We have you surrounded. Stand down immediately or be destroyed. Kip looked up, his face transformed by a wild grin. That's my father. 6 months after the confrontation with Drax, Jack stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Council's orbital station, watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon. The blue-green planet seemed both familiar and strange now. Home, yet no longer his only home. Still admiring the view? Neria's melodic voice came from behind him. You've been standing here for nearly an hour. He turned to find her approaching, her luminous hair cascading freely down her back, her elegant attire a perfect blend of Thalasian and human design elements. In the months since Drax's capture, she had embraced this fusion of styles, symbolic of the changes sweeping through galactic society. "Can you blame me?" Jack gestured toward Earth. "6 months ago, humanity had no idea we weren't alone in the universe. Now we're about to join the Galactic Council." Neria stood beside him, her cool hand finding his. "Your species has adapted remarkably well. Another quality I've come to admire about humans." "We're stubborn that way," he replied with a smile, pulling her closer. The aftermath of the battle had unfolded with dizzying speed. Drax, captured by Earth Defense Force Marines, now awaited trial for crimes against multiple species. His research facilities had been raided, liberating hundreds of human captives, including the entire crew of the colony ship he'd abducted. More significantly, the incident had forced the Galactic Council to acknowledge humanity's presence in the galaxy. Rather than risk open conflict with this unexpectedly advanced and numerous species, they had extended an invitation for Earth to join their interstellar community. "The ceremony begins in an hour," Nyria reminded him. "Admiral Simon is expecting us for the pre-council briefing." "And after that, the real work begins," Jack said, his expression growing serious. The real work was the joint human-Thalasian research project based on Kara's discoveries. With Neria's guidance and Jack's engineering expertise, they had established a research facility on Luna, where scientists from both species worked to develop the hybridization process that could save the Thalasian race while offering humans enhanced longevity and resilience. "Are you nervous about the announcement?" Neria asked as they walked toward the council chambers. "A little," Jack admitted. "Not everyone will be happy about it." Today, following Earth's formal induction into the council, they would publicly announce their intention to become the first official human-Thalasian bonded pair, both a personal union and a scientific milestone. Their genetic compatibility had been confirmed, and the treatments developed from Kara's research would allow them to have children who would carry the best traits of both species. "My people have always feared change," Neria said, "but they fear extinction more. Our union offers hope." "And what about you?" Jack asked, stopping to face her. "Is hope all you feel?" Her luminous eyes met his. The icy confidence he'd first encountered now warmed with emotion. "You know better than that." Their relationship had evolved from captor and captive to partners in every sense. What had begun as curiosity and attraction had deepened into something neither had expected. For Neria, Jack represented not just the salvation of her species, but a second chance at the love she thought she'd lost forever with Kareth's death. For Jack, she had become the embodiment of a wider universe. Beautiful, complex, and full of possibilities he'd never imagined. They arrived at the briefing room to find it already occupied. Admiral Simon, Kip's father and now Earth's military representative to the Council, was deep in conversation with Colonel Blackwood, who had been promoted to head of the newly formed Interspecies Intelligence Division. Elena was there too, having become Earth's cultural attaché, using her experience with Neria's collection to help humans understand alien societies. She was currently explaining the concept of baseball to a bewildered Illyrian diplomat. "The prodigal son returns," Kip called out, raising a glass in their direction. The young pilot had been reinstated in Earth's Space Force, now commanding one of the first joint human-alien crews. "Hardly prodigal," Jack replied with a grin. "Some of us have been working while you've been joyriding through the sector." "Speaking of work," Blackwood interjected, "the medical team has requested your presence after the ceremony, Lady Neria. Something about the final compatibility tests." Neria nodded. "The treatments are proceeding well. The genetic modifications are stabilizing in all test subjects." "Including me," came Lisa's voice as she entered the room. The Illyrian female had undergone a remarkable transformation. After testifying against Drax, she had volunteered for the refined treatment developed from Kareth's research, which stabilized the genetic modifications without creating dependency. Now she served as liaison between the research team and the thousands of Drax's former specimens who needed similar treatment. "The council session will begin in 20 minutes, Admiral Simon announced. "Earth's formal induction first, followed by the announcement of the Joint Research Initiative, and then..." He glanced at Jack and Neria with a knowing smile. "The more personal announcement." As the others filed out to take their positions, Jack held Neria back for a moment. "I have something for you," he said, reaching into his pocket. "A human tradition." He produced a small box containing a ring, a band of platinum inlaid with tiny fragments of luminescent material that matched the glow of her hair. "It's beautiful," she whispered as he slipped it onto her finger. "I have something for you as well." From within her robes, she withdrew a small, familiar object, the brooch she had worn when they first met. "This has been passed through my family for generations. Now it belongs to you." As he accepted the gift, their fingers touched, sending that now familiar electric current between them. Even after months together, the physical attraction remained as powerful as ever. Their nights together had been a journey of discovery, each teaching the other the ways of their species, finding common ground in passion that transcended their differences. "Tonight," she murmured, leaning close enough that her cool breath tickled his ear, "after all the ceremonies and politics, I want you to myself. I've arranged something special," he promised, his voice husky with anticipation. "A surprise." Her eyes sparkled. "Another Earth tradition?" "Something like that," he replied with a smile. Later, after the historic council session where Earth was formally welcomed into the galactic community, after the announcement of their union that sent ripples of shock and wonder through multiple worlds, Jack took Neria to a private shuttle. "Where are we going?" she asked as they departed the station. "You collected Earth things for years, wouldn't you?" he said, programming coordinates. "But you've never experienced the real thing." The shuttle descended toward Earth, landing not in one of the major cities but on a remote mountainside. As the door opened, Neria gasped at the vista before her. Pristine wilderness stretching to the horizon, a lake reflecting the setting sun, trees swaying in the gentle breeze. "Welcome to Earth," Jack said softly, taking her hand. "My home." He had built a small cabin here, a perfect blend of Earth, rustic charm, and the elegant comfort Neria was accustomed to. Inside, Earth artifacts, similar to those from her collection, decorated the space, but these were new, chosen specifically for her. "This is ours, Anahima explained. "A place between worlds, just like us." That night, as they lay together beneath Earth's moon, their bodies entwined in the most ancient of dances, Jack realized how far they had come. From slave and master to equals, from different worlds to shared destiny. "I never thought I'd find love among the stars," he whispered against her glowing hair. "And I never imagined my collection of Earth things would lead me to the greatest treasure of all," she replied, her cool skin warming against his. Outside their window, the night sky revealed both familiar Earth constellations and distant stars where the Galactic Council races made their homes. Somewhere out there, humanity was taking its first steps into a larger community, bringing with it the resilience, adaptability, and passion that had caught Neria's attention from the start. And here in this small cabin between worlds, a human man and his alien bride had found something neither expected, an undoubted love for each other that transcended the earthly and the alien, becoming something entirely new.